Big new thing. Gearing. It's different now.
Oh,
Not
very.
now, but soon. Valor's dead. Bye, Valor. They've basically realized, hang on, people want deterministic gear in a way. How are we going to do this?
People want to upgrade gear because it makes them feel good. Let's let them upgrade gear. Done.
Yeah, and what they say, the most important thing to keep in mind is that everything here is optional. You don't ever need to upgrade gear in this system. You'll still see gear drops at the same rate. So, essentially, gear is still gear. Gear's gear. Don't worry. Gear's gear. But on top of that, other things will be happening. And those other things, basically, this is what VP is sort of being replaced with, just that everyone has it. Just not for PvP, because they don't want to fuck with something that's actually working. So basically, there's two currencies here, right? Flight Stones and Shadow Flame Crests. See the Flight Stones as being like Justice Points or Valor Points.
Yeah.
I suppose Justice Points, in that they're uncapped. I think you can hold a maximum of what it would cost to upgrade a two-handed weapon 5 times, which basically is a fuckload. So Flight Stones, you just get these from doing anything. You kill a rare mob, you get some Flight Stones. You do a world quest, Flight Stone. Treasure, Flight Stones. Aiding the Accord, Flight Stones. Mythic Plus, more Flight Stones. High-level Mythic Plus, fuckload of Flight Stones.
Well,
Same
not a
well,
but a lot more.
More comparatively.
Because they did say that specifically they want to make sure that, like, doing a world quest or doing some treasure hunting does always feel like it's just about enough worth your time.
So, the way that this works, right? The higher you are upgrading your gear, the more expensive it will be in terms of Flight Stones. Now, this means that the gearing, at the level of world content gear, that'll all feel fairly reasonable, for them. But if you really want like the super high item level gear, then you'll need to get like way more Flight Stones by doing the higher end content in the game. But this is only one part of things. So this is something that feels like more of the traditional system, infinitely grindable, no weekly cap. The only limit is how much you can hold at once. So you can just go get a bunch of Flight Stones and upgrade your gear.
There's always a way for you to do the thing.
There'll be an asterisk though.
Yep.
It's not a bad asterisk, to be clear. It is Shadow Flame Crests. So, you can either earn these or fragments via outdoor gameplay, Mythic Plus, and Raid. These are reagents. They stack very high, so it's unlikely they'll take up more than one slot in your reagent bag. Now, Shadow Flame Crests come in 4 different varieties: Whelpling, Drake, Worm, and Aspect, which broadly map onto LFR, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic. The LFR and normal crests can be obtained from non-instanced outdoor content. Heroic and mythic ones are, of course, obtainable in Mythic Plus and via raid bosses. Each upgrade will cost 1 crest of the appropriate level. There is a weekly cap of 10 per type of crest at launch. So 10 Whelpling, 10 Drake, 10 Worm, 10 Aspect per week. They have set this to be higher than most players will realistically earn to keep a level-ish playing field between competitive players and the rest, and this weekly cap will increase over time, and also you can catch up freely if you do not reach the cap in week 1. Yep. By 6, if you needed a crest to upgrade everything in your character, you'll be able to earn all of them.
Week 6 is pretty quick.
Yeah, so basically the crests are the thing that are like the most important, and imagine that the crests, when you do the upgrade, that the crest is like being fueled by the Flight Stones.
Yeah.
I actually saw one dev say, Flight Stones, we almost see them as being like XP. You generate Flight Stones, and then when you get the crests, you kind of use them. So basically, all you really have to understand here is, whenever you get a bit of gear, you'll get a bit of gear. And you'll be able to upgrade it using all this stuff. And these Shadow Flame Crests replace Primal Infusions, insofar as crafting goes.
Yep.
So, essentially, you just play, like, let's just say, because I think roleplay, I know a lot of people got confused, because it's one of those things, whenever you just engage with it, when you see it in the game, it'll seem so much simpler than whenever you see the, like, okay, so there's 4 different tiers of gear, each one's got this many upgrades, right, that can be very, overwhelming, and I get that. But how it's going to feel to you is, let's say I do my normal raid, I have a few bits of gear from my normal raid. Let's say next, reclear night, we do the raid again. I get no gear. Am I sad? No, I won't be sad because I will have gotten flight stones and crests that I can use to upgrade the gear that I got last week. So this gives you a deterministic form of power increase every week.
You will always get crests, and you'll always get flight stones, and you can always upgrade gear with them.
Yeah. So in that way where a lot of raiding players just felt like raid should have valor as well. They've kind of done that wrote large.
Yeah. See, there's definitely a couple of issues people have that will feel like downgrades initially. And I can see that already because there was a carrier there said the upgrade and cap on gear is going to be really bad for low level M+ players. And I think that's a very small portion. Because and also technically, if you're in the past, you're doing low level M+, you wouldn't have got the mythic score to upgrade past a certain level anyway. So I think that's a little bit moot, where I think the design goal of this, and this is something I very much agree with, and I've always agreed with, if you're a normal player, you probably shouldn't be getting mythic gear.
No.
You should probably have a nice upgrade path to a decent cap there, and then if you want to go higher, you go higher. I think that's completely fair, and I think mapping that over to certain M+ ranges makes sense, because you don't want people to have gear for no effort. But there is a caveat to that, and the caveat to that is just how far you can upgrade. Because I've got the spreadsheet in front of me, because I kind of made a little one, and it's like, so say you're a normal player, and you can upgrade the whole way to heroic 4 out of 5 with a normal item, because the champion 8 out of 8 is same as hero 4 out of 5, which is one step below what mythic is. And it's like I was saying a little bit earlier about how the low level of gear is like half, and normal starts like halfway in, and then it's like condensed at the end. So mythic and hero is only like this much, and there's pretty like small item level jumps. But most of the gear is actually gettable by normal mode players.
Yeah, so like,
as long as you upgrade it by doing the heroic, because you have to get those crests.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that's a very...
It would mean that our heroic re-clears would be getting us all towards hero 5 out of 5 gear, which would be low mythic gear.
Even if we didn't get heroic gear to drop, we would be getting crests, so we could turn our normal gear into eye level wise heroic gear. And I think it's the case of, it's actually just, there's so few issues with it in my mind.
Yeah.
That any small issues are massively outweighed by how good it is, I think.
So to look through this, right, just so you can understand, this table is essentially the new loot system mapped onto the current item levels that we have in the game, just to like actually make it be relatable, because we all know, I level 420, that's very high. So 376, this was basically your kind of starting, this was a heroic gear, right? Heroic dungeon gear.
Yeah, this is slightly higher, so I'm not sure if this is, I think these are just placeholder levels.
Because like 84 was what you got from an M0. But anyway, all of that gear, right? All of this gear from 385 and below is explorer gear. Okay? And then any gear that you get between 89 and 398 will be adventurer gear. But the thing is, you don't have to replace all of your explorer gear with adventurer gear, because your explorer gear...
Not just yet, anyway.
Yeah, not just yet. Your explorer gear can be upgraded more.
Yeah.
So this does mean that between these two systems, everyone can get to 398. However, if you then start doing stuff that gets you whelpling crests,
which is LFR tier content, probably M2 to M4, M5 or something like that.
If you're doing that, then you'll start to have veteran gear drop for you.
Yeah.
But the adventurer gear from before can still be upgraded. So this essentially means that you're able to gear your whole character. And then the same thing plays out.
Except it's a bit shorter for heroic, because it gets cut off when you go into mythic.
So it overall seems like a pretty damn good system. Now you may be thinking, hang on a second though. Let's just say I'm moving through this veteran gear. Am I not going to feel really stupid upgrading adventurer gear? in that slot, when that's wasting my flight stones. And look at this upgrade path. Where can it go? Well,
we're glad you asked.
Yeah, because they've actually built shit in to fix that problem.
Yep.
So upgrading items that are lower item level than the highest you've had in that slot will be discounted. So that means that if you got your adventurer gear, you brought it from 4 to 8, you're not going to feel bad about that because you've permanently, you've increased the max item level that slot has had. And that means that if you get a new piece of gear and you want to get it up to speed, it costs no crests and half the flight stones. The flight stone discount also will carry over to your alts, but the crest cost will remain. So that means your alt will have to do the content, but your alt will, be way less constrained by flight stones. So it has built-in alt catch-up. Mm-hmm. And then for rings, trinkets, and one-handed weapons, it will track your second highest item in that slot because, of course, you can have 2 of those be equipped. Now, the only exclusions that exist are for sort of crafted gear, PvP and Mythic level gear. Mythic's just straight up, Mythic's the best in the game, that's it.
Yep, go on it.
PvP gear, they don't want to fuck with that. From their opinion, PvP is good as it is, so let's just keep it like that, which I agree with. And then crafted gear. So the Shadowflame crests can be turned into enchanted Shadowflame crests by enchanters. These then are used to set the item level ranges of crafted gear, just like primal infusions. And once crafted, instead of flight stones or Shadowflame crests, you will use the existing recrafting system to upgrade your crafted gear. So there you go. It's kind of like a one system to rule them all, and it actually works pretty good.
Indeed.
And I mean, yeah. I think it's very simple and sensible once you see it.
Yeah, once this is in game, people feel it. I think it's actually going to be pretty good.
Yeah. So, you do LFR, and let's just say you get a 402 piece. It'll never drop as adventurer gear. It drops as veteran 1 out of 8.
Yep.
It's just that the adventurer gear you got from doing world quests and aiding the Accord or whatever, you can continue to upgrade that using these Whelpling crests. But you don't have to worry about having used those Whelpling crests because any other gear that you get, let's just say you get more veteran 1 out of 8 gear, but it's in the same slot, you're like, oh, but I already used crests to upgrade that slot fully to 411. You don't have to worry because you won't need to use any crests.
I'm going to get a discount.
So it pretty much eliminates the problem that happened with Valor points where you just feel like you couldn't spend your Valor points because it's a seasonally capped currency and you'll waste it.
Yeah, the user story here, I think, is what's important. And I think the user story is, hey, you're going to a higher difficulty. You can bring your old gear with you. That's it.
Yeah.
You can bring your old gear with you while you wait for new gear to drop. And theoretically, if you're just going to do that new difficulty and not go like very hard into it, then you'll just be flying away. Doesn't encourage people to play multiple alts to upgrade separate pieces to more easily upgrade gear in their main. That's an insane edge case, and I think no reasonable person would do that. By that, I am saying that I think world first raiders are not reasonable people, but you don't get to be world first or top 200 in the world without being some form unreasonable.
Yeah.
In that case, I imagine there's probably going to be a way to... Oh yeah, that's a good point. Actually, no, because you still need to use crests on alts. You'll just get the Flightstone discount and Flightstones. I'm sure players like that will be swimming in them.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, no, you can't really do that. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, well spotted, Stania. So yeah, honestly, you want to bring your old gear with you? Yeah, sweet. You want to upgrade your rig gear? Do you want to always feel rewarded every time you do a bit of content? Yeah, sounds great to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so happy about it overall. It seems very targeted. And the fact that they've got the discount clause, or the redundancy clause they call it, the redundancy discount is just hey, you got a trinket and you're really annoyed. You're just fuck, why did I upgrade my old trinket? I want to use this new trinket. You can just go upgrade the new trinket. Sure, it might take you a couple hours of grinding something for flight stones if you spend them all, but if they balance it correctly, you'll just be swimming in upgrades to the point of difficulty that you do, which I think is the important part. The important part is, hey, you're a heroic raider. You'll be able to have maybe not fully heroic gear if you've got bad luck with drops. You might have a load of champion 8 out of 8, which will be only hero 4 out of 5. unfortunate for you. You won't be able to have hero 5 out of 5 until you drop them. But that's 3 item levels. That's 3 item levels.
Yeah.
You will feel absolutely and utterly fine.
And another nice thing too, helping your friends. Just
Oh, yeah,
kind of-
exactly.
It supports more of that. So let's say, let's say we're doing some Mythic Plus, right? And there's a trinket that's maybe the equivalent of the Chill Globe that, I would really want. Okay. Well, let's say we're doing some Mythic Plus in and around here on the chart.
Sorry.
Say we're just, just helping a new character up. I suppose we'd be around here now. But anyway, let's just say 415, right? Or whatever it is. Let's just say some trinket drops. And normally I'd be thinking, as a raider, like, oh, it would cost infinite valor. It would cost all my valor to upgrade this trinket. It's not worth it. Well, I think with the way that this whole system is being balanced, let's just say I do get that trinket. It's at a lower item level, but it still fundamentally is a trinket that I would want. I'd probably have plenty of flight stones, plenty of things. I could get it up to a good enough item level. I feel happy enough with that. Just because from doing raiding, I will have all the resources that I need. And I think that's the bit that's important. It's not this thing where, like, obviously the people who do more content will get more stuff, but if you're a raider, like, and you didn't have an upgrade path for your gear or any of that, like, you did just feel like, oh man, look at that in Mythic Plus, they can get item levels so quickly, damn.
Yep.
So
That's always the part that bugged me.
Yeah,
I remember having a small melty on stream before, been like trying to figure out what the actual time efficiency of Mythic Plus versus Raid was. Just be like, this is not good enough for Raiders. And then it's like, oh yeah, here's the problem. Here's the solution to your problem. Like, sweet.
yeah,
I'll have that. Thank you.
yeah.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, no, look, we'll have to see. Like, the UX could be bad and you could be confused.
It could be shite.
It could be tuned terribly. All of these things are still possible. But I think broad strokes, it is a big thumb up situation.
Yeah, very happy with it.